All right, here we go. All right. Booker Tube, all of our brothers and sisters out there. Shalom. Shalom. I'm Brother Doug, as always, with the Wigan by Yahuwah Assembly. Right now, I'm by myself because I'm really just doing a re-recording for Job 21:22 right now. So those that see this can follow along. I know this is probably early for those of you in the California areas, so you probably won't catch this until later, but that's not a big deal. I just wanted to make sure I got this Job recording done. So we're going to go to Job 21-22 here. And I'll be reading from the Septuagint here. And we'll see here if there's any major differences here. Okay. But Ayub answered and said, hear ye my words, that I may not have this consolation from you. Raise me, and I will speak, then you shall not laugh me to scorn. What is my reproof of man, and why should I not be angry? Look upon me and wonder, laying your hand upon your neck, for even when I remember, I am alarmed, and pains seize my flesh. Wherefore do the wicked live and grow old even in wealth? Their seed is according to their desire, and their children are in their sight. Their houses are prosperous, and neither have they anywhere cause for fear. Neither is there a scourge from Yahuwah upon them. Let me just double check here. Yeah, so we have a little difference here that I'm going to write down. Just get a pen real quick, and I'll expound after the chapter is fully read. I definitely want to write these down here, guys. So, all right. So we got Job 21:9. Just trying to. There we go. Okay, so text has that. Okay, here we go. Moving on. Verse 10. Their bull breeds and does not fail. Their calves without miscarriage. They send forth their little ones like a flock, and their children dance. They sing to the tambourine and lyre, and rejoice to the sound of the flute. They spend their days in tubeness, and in a moment go down to the grave. And they say to let me go back to my Septuagint here. Yet such a man says to Yahuwah, depart from me, I desire not to know your ways. Interesting. So, seeing some other interesting differences here. Yeah, you guys are seeing me writing down notes in real time, so hopefully you guys are enjoying that. See me not being so prepared there. Okay, verse 15. What is the mighty one that we should serve him? And what profit is there that we should approach him? I like how the Septuagint says the mighty one, makes it distinct. So let's see here. Yeah, pretty much. I think in the Masoretic, this would be Al Shaddai. Yeah, which is mistranslated as Almighty. Shaddai, which actually Shaddai would mean the sufficient one. Yeah. The reason I know this, in the Targums, they translate the Hebrew word Shaddai as sufficient one or all sufficient one. So, all right. Now we're down to verse 16 here. Okay. For there are two things were in their hands, but he regards not the works of the wicked. So, nevertheless, the lamp of the wicked also shall be put out. Destruction shall come upon them, and pains of vengeance shall seize them. And they shall be as chaff before the wind, or as dust which storm has taken up. Let his substance fail to supply his children. Yahuwah shall repay him, and he shall know it. Let his eyes see his own destruction, and let him not be saved by Yahuwah. So that's pretty interesting. Job is actually saying, let not the wicked be saved by Yahuwah. So it's very interesting. Kind of puts in perspective John 3:16 there. Okay, for his desire is in the house with him, in his house with him. And obviously Job 21:21 here is a similar context to what later on we see by David. Okay. All right, so we're talking about his mom's suddenly off. It is not Yahuwah who teaches. Is it not Yahuwah who teaches understanding and knowledge, and does not he rightly rule murderers? You know, basically meaning, doesn't Yahuwah rule with justice? So again, the Masoretic seems to make it generic here. In verse 22, the Masoretic leaves out Yahuwah, so it just says, it makes it really worded really weird in the Masoretic. Does anyone teach I knowledge? I don't know. Do I teach anyone knowledge? I guess is what is it trying to say in the ISR there, but it's very strange. It's worded very strange in the Masoretic there. One shall die in his perfect strength, wholly at ease and prosperous, and in his inwards are full of fat, and his marrows is diffused throughout him. And another dies in bitterness of soul, not eating any two thing, but they lie down in the earth together, and corruption covers them. So I know you, that you presumptuously attack me, that you will say, where is the house of the prince? Where's the covering of the tabernacles of the wicked? Ask those that go by and do not disown their tokens, for the wicked hastens to the day of destruction, meaning, you know, the wicked hastens to their own destruction. They shall be led away for the day of his vengeance, meaning the day of Yahuwah's wrath, his vengeance. Who will tell him his way to his face, whereas he has done it? Who shall repay him? And he has been led away to the tombs. He has watched over the heaps. The stones of the valley have been sweet to him. Every man shall depart after him. There are innumerable ones before him. How then do you comfort me in vain? Whereas I have no rest from your molestation. So this is Job just feeling that Yahuwah is favoring the wicked, but at the same time, he later on in the same chapter corrects himself and talks about how the wicked might be prospering now, but in the end is their destruction. So it seems like Job is just very double-minded right now. He's just very depressed, and he feels like Yahuwah is attacking him, and he just doesn't understand why the wicked seem to prosper and all that. So, but just to go over some notes I have here from the differences in chapter 21 before we jump right to 22. We have 21 verse 9 of Job. LXX has Yahuwah, Masoretic text has Alua. Again, I've talked about this, how this Masoretic tradition of putting Elohim or Alua as replacing the Tetragrammaton as a name is a big Jewish tradition even today. Okay, Job 21:14, Masoretic text lacks Yahuwah. Job 21:15, Masoretic text has sufficient one. The Septuagint in verse 15 has the mighty one. A little bit of a difference there. And then we have Job 21:20. Yahuwah is there, where it seems as if Yahuwah's name is omitted out of the text there. Yeah, so the Masoretic text does not have Yahuwah there in verse 20. And then you have 21:21. For his desires in his house and with him, and the number of his months has been suddenly cut off. So very interesting. And then we have verse 22, 21:22, right? The Masoretic text leaves out Yahuwah. So in the Septuagint it says, "Is it not Yahuwah who teaches?" So again, the Masoretic has it worded very weirdly, as I went over before. Okay, so now we're going to go to chapter 22. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, is it not Yahuwah who teaches? So again, we have that there. Very worded very differently, so put a little note about that. Is it not Yahuwah who teaches understanding and knowledge? For what matters it to Yahuwah if you were blameless in your works? Or is it profitable that you should perfect your way? So again, we have this time in Job 22, verse 3, Masoretic text has Shaddai, which you could, interpret as sufficient one. LXX has Yahuwah. Okay, so again, verse 4, will you maintain and plead your own cause and will enter into right ruling with you? Will he enter into right ruling with you? Is not your wickedness abundant and your sins innumerable, and you have taken security of your brothers for nothing? You have taken away clothing of the naked. Neither have you given water to the thirsty to drink, but have taken away the morsel of the hungry. You have accepted the persons of some, and you have established those that were already settled on the earth. But you have sent widows away empty and have afflicted orphans. Therefore snares have surrounded you, and disastrous war has troubled you. The light has proved darkness to you. The water has covered you on your lying down. Does not he that dwells in the high places observe? Has he not brought down the proud? Verse 13, you have said, what does the mighty one know? Does he rightly rule in darkness? Okay, yeah, that's way different. Okay, so Job 22:13, LXX has the mighty one. So what's weird is it has mentioning Yahuwah in third person, and then the Masoretic says, "What do I know?" So very strange wording in the Masoretic. Doesn't really make sense with the conversation Eliphaz is having with Job. Obviously, Eliphaz is not Yahuwah. Verse 14, a cloud is his hiding place. He shall not be seen. He passes through the circle of heaven. Okay, self-explanatory there, the circle of heaven. Will you not mark the old way which righteous men have trodden, who were seized before their time? Their foundation are as an overflowing stream, who say, what will Yahuwah do to us, or what will the Almighty bring upon us? I'm just curious here. Just want to see if, so Yahuwah is omitted out of verse 17 in the Masoretic text. So you guys can look that up for yourselves. Also, instead of Almighty, really in the Hebrew, it would have been, instead of Almighty, you would have had Sufficient One or Shaddai. Right. So moving on. Verse 18 here in chapter 22. Yet he filled their houses with tob thanes, but the counsel of the wicked is far from him. The righteous have seen it and laughed, and the blameless one has derided him. Verily, their substance has been utterly destroyed, and the fire shall devour what is left of their property. Be firm, I pray you, if you can endure, then your fruit shall prosper, and receive a declaration from his mouth, and lay up his words in your heart. And if you shall turn and humble yourself before Yahuwah, thus have you removed unrighteousness far from your habitation. You shall lay up for yourself treasure in the heap on the rock, and sulfur shall be as the rock of the torrent. So the Almighty shall be your helper from enemies, and he shall bring you forth pure as silver that has been tried by fire. So again, Job 22:25. In the Hebrew there, that would be Shaddai or Sufficient One. Then you shall certainly delight in the Almighty. So this is where I gotta go back to the Septuagint here. So then shall you have boldness before Yahuwah. Okay. So again, Masoretic text in verse 26 has Sufficient One instead of Yahuwah. Septuagint has Yahuwah there. Looking up cheerfully to heaven, and he shall hear you when you pray to him, and shall grant you power to pay your vows. He shall establish you again a habitation of righteousness. There shall be light upon your paths, because you have humbled yourself. Because you have humbled yourself, you shall say, man has behaved proudly, but he shall save him that is of lowly eyes. He shall deliver the innocent, and do you save yourself by your pure hands. Now, I've said this before, this last part of the verse has always confused me. The only thing I can think of is where Yahushua says, save yourself from this wicked generation, which again, he's not saying give yourself eternal salvation. He's talking about in essence, physical deliverance. That's what he's talking about. So that's how I would interpret Job 22, verse 30 there. I wouldn't read too much into that, like you're actually giving yourself salvation. Obviously, the Bible does not promote works-based salvation. So anyway, so just to recap, you have verse 26, like I said again, the Septuagint has Yahuwah, Masoretic text has Shaddai, verse 25, Masoretic text has Shaddai, verse 17 of that chapter, Masoretic text is missing Yahuwah. LXX has Almighty in that verse. Masoretic text has Shaddai. Okay, and that's pretty much it, guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this final cut of Job 21 to 22. I apologize for the previous recording, guys, that somehow did not get fully, the audio never went through. I don't know what happened. So hopefully, guys, you enjoyed this little morning recording here. So please stay tuned. We will be actually doing our official study later for, I believe we are going to be doing Numbers chapters 7 to 8. And obviously for Job, it would be 23 to 24. So please stay tuned for that, guys. We'll see y'all in a little bit. Shabbat shalom. Hold on. I hate it when it does this.